welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Rai and this is Rai's Reading Corner, and today we are doing the mid-year freakout tag. Hello, I'm Rai, and this is Rai's Reading Corner. If this is the first time you're seeing my face and you've not hit the subscribe button, please do so. It's super easy and it really helps my channel grow. So as you can tell by my thumbnail and my little introduction, today we are doing the annual mid-year freakout tag. So I'm really excited. I have done this every year. I've been on book 2. I think this is my 3rd one, and I really like reflecting on so far how the year is going and then comparing it at the end of the year to see if any of these things have changed. So I'm going to go through the questions. Some of the books I have, some of the books I don't, so I will put the images in for the books that I don't have. And yeah, let me know what some of the answers to these questions down below. So the first question is, what is my favorite book of the year so far? And of course, I can't just pick one because that would be way too easy. So I have a pile of my favorite books. So one of them is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. This is a male-male romance that takes place like on a dating show type setting. And the mental health rep in here is some of the best mental health rep I have ever read. And I have tabbed this so much, and I cannot wait to see what Alison Cochrane writes in the future because this one was so good. Another book that will definitely probably be on my top 10 books of the year, and this one might be a little controversial because some people I think are going to have this on their worst favorite books of the year. I think I'll be very split this year. It's House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This was the sequel to Crescent City. I tabbed this one up. I really liked this one. I liked the ending of this one, which I know some people did not enjoy. For me, this was A+, and it definitely is an amazing book that I really liked and will definitely be one of my best books of the year. The next book that I've read that has been on my top of my list is Delia Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. So this is about a girl named Delia who goes back to small hometown to be the photographer for her stepsister's wedding, and all of her stepsister's friends are girls that really she didn't get along with great when she was in high school, but there is this a little budding romance between one of her stepsister's friends and her, and the smut was really good in this one. I absolutely loved this story, and I haven't really heard anything negative about this one, and I 100% agree with this one. The sequel's coming out soon this year, and I cannot wait to continue the series. And the last one that I think would be one of my top books of the year so far is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This book is such a good story. I have not watched the Netflix adaptation of it yet. I'm a little nervous to do so, but this follows the story of two best friends growing up and them kind of living different lifestyles and kind of being jealous of each other, but not really knowing that, jealous of like their lifestyle. And this book is so good. I cannot wait to read the sequel, but I had to pause and wait for a little bit because this book emotionally tore me apart, and I can't wait to dive into this one. But that's definitely, again, one of my favorite books of the year. Okay, so the next one is the best sequel of the year. So I didn't want to reuse House of Sky and Breath, so I'm going to do the Brittle Birthright series. So this could be like Broken Vow, it could be Savage Lover, Stolen Heir, any of them that came after the original Brutal Prince. I fell in love with Sophie Lark at the end of last year, and I have dived deeper into her books, and I just love her style of writing. I love her as a person. I think she's really awesome from what I've seen. I just love this. This is a mafia romance series that follows different mafias and the siblings and the couples, and it's just such a good series. And I have started the spin-off one, and so I cannot wait to continue with that one. But this definitely wins the award for my favorite series or sequel because I really just loved all of them. So the next one is, what is a release that I have not gotten to yet that I really want to read? And one of them is My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. I have this. It's just buried somewhere in a book haul pile that I need to do. This is like a cozy mystery romance story, so it's a little bit different than what Tessa Bailey has written before, but I'm super excited to read it. Another one is The Roommate Agenda by Claire Kahn. This is a Ace rep, and I'm super excited about it. The main character's 30, I'm 30, so I feel like I'm gonna be able to relate a lot to this story, and I'm excited to read this one. There are tons other I could go through, but those are just two that pop out right at me right away. So the next question is, what are some of my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year? So of course I can't just pick one. I did narrow it down to two. So the first one is by Ellie Hazelwood, and it's Love on the Brain. This is her follow-up novel to Love Hypothesis, which took the storm in the bookish world community last year. This is another one with a character woman who is in STEM, and I'm really excited to see, and hopefully her novel lives up to the hype and how well written, in my opinion, the Love Hypothesis was. And the other one that I'm super excited about is kind of one that I've touched about before. It's in the sequel to Delia Green Doesn't Care, and this is by Ashley Herring Blake, and it is called Astrid Doesn't Fall. I am excited, but I'm a little nervous because my friend Michelle from Michelle's Library read an arc of it and didn't love it because Astrid wasn't just not one of her favorite characters. And in the first one, I was hoping that this sequel was going to be another character, and that character's getting another book later on. But I was surprised that it was going to be Astrid next. I am excited. It's going to be queer. I have high hopes. The cover is gorgeous, and I hope I love it as much as Delia Green. Okay, so my biggest disappointments. So the first one is Hyde, and that's not going to be a surprise because I just made a video of books that I should have DNF'd. So Hyde, I've already unhauled this book. The premise was really cool. The setting was really cool, but execution for me fell pretty flat. The next one is 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. Again, the way it was portrayed on the back of the book as a summary is not really what happened. You're pretty much just following the life of 9 people on their day-to-day living, and it wasn't very exciting for me. There was one little twist that I, kind of enjoyed, but overall I gave the book 2 stars, so it was a huge disappointment for me. And another one really hurts me to put on this one, and I still do own the book. Pre-ordered this book and I had gotten an arc and reread it, but it's I Kissed Shara Wheeler, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, by Casey McQuiston. The story, I just didn't buy the romance or the relationship that was supposed to be going on with these main characters. I know a lot of people said it's inspired or was kind of similar to Looking for Alaska by John Green, which I do not like that book at all or the author. So I think that's probably kind of also why I didn't like this book, but I think Casey McQuiston adult books are definitely more up my alley on this one, but this one fell short for me. I still give it 3 stars, but it just was quite a disappointment for me. So the next question is, what was a book that really was a big surprise for me this year? And this one so far is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This book was gifted to me by Sahar and really pushed me to read it. Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy told me I needed to read this. She thought I was going to really like it, but I was nervous because the fantasy aspect and setting was very different than other fantasy stories that I have read in the past, and I'm glad I did. I ended up buying the sequel right after, in the middle I was reading this. I have started, but I had to put it aside to do some readathons I had to get done, but overall I really liked this story. I would highly recommend this one. I did find that it was easy to digest and easy to understand, and I really liked this author's writing, and I cannot wait to continue this series. Okay, so the next question is a new favorite author. This could be just a new author to me or debut author, and I definitely could put a couple different ones in these ones, but this one I'm going to put down for this author because I've read several books by this author duo this year, so I can safely say that I really like them, and it's Penelope Ward and V. Keeland. I have read several of their books this year, and I listened to them in audio and liked them so much that I bought them physically. They are romance stories, and I think they're really well written. The smut is so good, it's on point, and the story itself is well done, and there's always some underlying seriousness that's going on in these books, so it's not just all about the smut and the romance. There are some serious things going on. So for this one I love, Happily Letter After. This is a single dad romance story that I absolutely love, and Dirty Letters is a childhood to lovers. There's a lot with mental health rep in this one, and these stories are just so good. I've read more as well. These are just the 2 physical that I kind of pulled off my shelf, but if you've not checked out this author duo, I really would. The audiobooks are very well done as well. They do have a dual narrator, and this one has an accent, and the person has an accent, so I give it that, and it's really good. All right, so the next question is my newest fictional crush. I'm trying to take the book out, and it's gonna be Raylan from Broken Vow by Sophie Lark. This guy in here is so I just really liked him. He has a good sense of humor, and he is a war veteran rancher. He is, has close siblings, and I just love his role in his family, the family dynamics, and I absolutely loved him. He was this down-to-earth manly guy, and he was able to break the shell of this very hardened exterior of a mafia girl, and I loved him, and he was everything, and I just honestly probably a lot of the guys from the Brutal Birthright series, but this one stands out to me the most, so that's who I would pick for this from. The next one is who is my newest favorite character, and I don't know where my book is, but my favorite character is Finley Donovan. This girl is so fun. If you have not read Finley Donovan is Killing It, you need to get on it. It's pretty much about a woman who is a mom, and she have recently been separated from her husband, and she is kind of struggling, and she is at a restaurant, and someone misconstrues a conversation she's having with her publisher, and they think that she's a hit woman, and so she gets hired to complete an assassination. And I just thought it was so funny. A lot of the things that she was talking about in mom life was super relatable, not the assassin part, but just day-to-day life of being a mom and having kids. And I just loved her character. She was really funny, and I just thought she would be really funny to hang out with. Okay, so a book that made you cry, like I said, I don't usually like to repeat, but Kristen Hanna's Firefly Lane. I cried for a good 20 minutes straight after I finished this book, as well as crying throughout reading this book. This book had me in tears, and it's because Kristen Hanna does such a great job at creating characters that you feel so connected to them, that you feel like you know them personally. So I was devastated about things that happened in this book, and I bawled my eyes out. I want to read the sequel. That's a book that I need to get to very, very soon, because I just needed a break though from this book because it was so intense. But I'm excited to see where this characters go. Kristen does such a great job establishing characters, and that's what I like about her writing. It flies by, even though the books are pretty chunky, but this one had me broken apart. I love The Great Alone. I don't know which one's my favorite one, but this book definitely made me cry more than The Great Alone, but it just is such a good book. So the next one is a book that made me happy, and this was a little bit harder than I thought, because I feel like I read a lot of books that necessarily aren't made to be happy endings, but the one that I actually just finished pretty recently, and it's still like, I think it's in my living room, is Home Field Advantage by Dahlia Adler. This is a YA sapphic romance about a cheerleader and quarterback, but the quarterback is a girl, and I really liked this story. It talked a lot about stereotypes, and it talked a lot about coming in comfort with your sexuality, and it just was like they were happy queers, and I just really liked this story. It was easy read, it was really quick, it was funny, it was good, and I really, really loved these characters, and I really want Dahlia Adler to create a romance story for an adult, because she did really good at creating lots of tension and steam, but it was always fade to black, obviously, because it's YA, but I think she'd be so good at writing an adult steamy scene. But I really liked the characters, and I thought this book was done really well and just made me really happy. Okay, so next question is my most beautiful book that I have received or have bought. So obviously my Fairy Loot editions are beautiful books, so I try to pick things that maybe weren't Fairy Loot. So the first one to me is beautiful because it holds a really special place in me. So this is my favorite book of all time, #1, and it's The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I just really love this edition. It has this shiny gold, and on the inside flaps, it has some of the most famous quotes from The Outsiders. Things are rough all over, stay gold pony boy. So it has embossed the greasers on here, so all the boys, and I really just love that. And then on the outside is the gold as well. This is the 50th anniversary edition, and then in this it also has a bunch of pictures and letters as well from the set of the movie, and I just, yeah, like, I treasure this book. I display it, and The Outsiders is one of my favorite things of all time. And the other one book that I thought was really pretty is Sarah J. Maas's The House of Sky and Breath. I just absolutely love this cover, and the inside pages were absolutely stunning on this edition. And then as well, I just really like the simplicity with the gold embossed moon on there as well. So this one was really pretty as well. And so obviously, like, my Fairy Loot books are absolutely gorgeous, but I wanted to try and pick things that necessarily weren't Fairy Loot editions. So the last question is, what books do I need to prioritize or read by the end of the year? That's a lot of books, so I really want to prioritize reading off my shelves and finishing some series. So like I said before, finish the duology for Firefly Lane, and I'm hoping to get to that fairly soon. I also would like to continue in this series, The City of Brass. I also just put a summer TBR up recently. I'll tag in the cards above. So those are some books that I would like to prioritize as well. Honestly, I feel like this question is super loaded because I want to read as many books as I can possibly can, but I definitely want to focus on series and just knocking off some of my existing TBR books. So let me know down in the comments below how your reading year is going so far. I've done really well. I think I've read 75 books, which is amazing. I'm very proud of myself for that. And yeah, so if you want to take this crazy and chaotic journey with me, please make sure you press that subscribe button. If you're my friend on any of my other social media platforms, I do have my own Patreon. The link is down below. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And yeah, so stay kind, loves, and I'll see you next time. Bye!